All right, guys, welcome. So this is going to be the commentary video, long overdue for my 120% record. If you're wondering, I did not get a new world record lately. This particular record at the time of this recording is about 8 months old. And if you can believe it, I've been grinding every day since then and before then for years to try to improve it. So this is a really good run of Spyro, and we're going to go through and kind of talk about where my head was at, what was good, what was bad, and just like give you an insight into the mind of a completely far gone, lost mess of a human being turned professional speedrunner. So let's get into it. We start with this beautiful intro I created.
That many of us know, love from our childhoods. Maybe you're just finding out about how sick of a speed game this is.
You could tell I was really trying to be like Mr. Content here with this.
Further than any other human ever did.
Kind of like what I said earlier.
This game in the history of humanity. But that's not it. I'm going to GDQ
kind of cringe.
Tomorrow to play
oh yeah, this was right before GDQ. Okay, so this was right before GDQ. You can see I'm very hyped about it. My GDQ run was actually, it was a lot of fun, but I almost actually crashed the game. I went like 2 minutes over estimate. So the run itself was terrible, so I was kind of regretting that, but whatever. This is talking about the 120 and 120%, which is my next goal. As you can tell, the time up there is 121.02 for this run, and I've still been grinding for this 120 and 120%. I don't know if I'm even going to ever get it. That's how crazy this run is. And yeah, in case you don't want to see the chat right there, I got my live chat right here to the side. So if you don't want to see any of this commentary or my face or whatever, make sure you follow the Clips channel down below. I'll even link it in my Twitch chat here, but I'll have all that linked below on the YouTube video. So without further ado, let's turn this back up here and let's get into it. But yeah, that was what was that? SGDQ 2022, 2021? I don't even. Yeah, 2022 it must have been. And yeah, let's see how this run starts. Now, one thing I want to say right from the get-go is that I
pretty regularly for not
listen to how I'm talking. I'm talking like this. I'm like very low energy, very like. I was pissed at this current point. I'm not gonna dwell on what I was talking about here, but I was basically pretty pissed at this point in my stream because I think maybe I was like 3 hours into my grind and I just like wasn't getting good runs, or you know, the usual speedrun depression stuff. And I just wasn't, you can just tell, I just wasn't really in a great mood. I was kind of going off on my chat here, which in retrospect, looking back at this now world record VOD, it's kind of embarrassing, frankly. I mean, I don't want like the best run of this game that everyone watches to be like me in like some shitty, you know, mean, you know, mood like that. So it is one of my regrets about this run that I, you know, wasn't able to, I guess just have a better attitude. My attitude was not great on this run, but it really does say something about it does say something about that it doesn't really matter if you're in a good mood or a bad mood or you're happy or sad. The game only responds to the level of focus that you have. The game is not like, the game doesn't care about your if you're in a good mood or a bad mood. That really has no effect on your runs beyond what you let it affect your runs. And so just by however the mix of emotions were here for me on this particular run, especially near the start. What am I talking about here?
Finish a really good run. That's when you have the most viewers. I'm
talking about viewers and stuff.
Streamers think.
You know, talking about streamers. This is common like stream, you know, dialogue here of just like, oh, well, you know, this is how you get viewers, or this is, you know, this is my opinion on viewers and this and that. It's like, bitch, who cares? You know, like the more I stream and the more I talk about these sorts of topics, I look back on it and I'm just like, bro, who fucking cares about like the viewer count or any of this or what you think streamers should be like or what they're like? And it's like, no one gives a fuck, dude. Like everyone's just doing their own thing on this fucking platform. It's like, what, you know? But that's kind of how it is when you got two fucking mics in front of you. Is you start like really just whatever comes to your mind, you know, whatever you're thinking about. Which if you're live streaming speedruns, you're constantly thinking about live streaming and speedruns. So it ends up being like a lot of these same topics about like, oh, streamers are like this, but I'm like this, you know, type of, you know, whatever you call it, virtue signaling or whatever. It's just played out. It's just not interesting for me. Looking back on it as a viewer, it's just not interesting conversation, frankly. All right, but let's talk about this run now. This is where the real run begins here, you know? Obviously, Sunny Flight, you're just kind of chatting, getting through it. Let's see how we're playing in Dark Hollow. Let's actually talk about the gameplay here. Take a moment, just watch. Very nice flame charging, keeping the momentum very nice here. One thing that really sets apart like pushing the movement is the way you're able to conserve momentum. And it's very minute the way it happens because like with those stairs and the way I was jumping around there in that inner area, it was like you have to really jump like frame perfectly out of charges in order to preserve momentum from that. And so when you see a good momentum preservation, it really speaks to like an almost frame perfect level of execution.
You could be passionate about something and it's all that matters to you for a day.
More virtue signaling.
You wake up the next day and it's like you never even cared about it. Funny how that is, right?
It's funny how that is. Fucking speedrun philosopher over here, dude. Like, come on. Fucking Saboom Jr.
Is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, and you can just hear the difference, like, in my voice. Like, I'm talking like this. I'm like, it's like, literally, I'm using, like, half the energy to talk as I am right now. Like, there's no energy in the voice. But all that energy is like, I'm focusing it into the run.
Hey, what's up, Cameron? Thanks for the good luck.
But I don't want it to be this thing where it's like, okay, well, you know, you're in a bad mood, so you're probably going to get a good run. It's just like, it's a different, as I said earlier, it's a different mix of emotions that kind of give you this final product of a run. You know, and sometimes they affect your run and sometimes they don't. Sometimes I'm really talkative and playing well. For example, today I got a 121 in this game, being very talkative and chill. And then on a day like this, I get my best run ever in a very abrasive and not talkative mood. So I really personally, after all these years, I don't really think that one style of like of streamer like is better than another for speedrunning. A lot of speedrunners like harp on, oh god, look at that fountain right there. That fountain
input view, I literally pressed X 3 different
you can see I'm pissed about it. I'm like, oh my god. When that happens, it's like, what can you do? Because like when he's like bouncing like that and you try to press X, like it'll probably press X while he's like mid bounce, so it doesn't register the jump. So it's like, so I said I literally pressed X like 3 times there. I wish I had the, I do have the input display actually. You can see below the camera here. I've since made this input display a little smaller since this run. But yeah, get my camera perfect.
Guys, I'm gonna miss this setup.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna miss this setup is what I said here. So this was one of my last runs. I think actually my last run before leaving to go to SGDQ, as I mentioned earlier. And turn this down a little. And there's a kind of magic thing that happens. I've noticed when you're about to leave, you know, your setup or your something. There's gonna be a new step in your life. Let's say. It's those last streams, like the very last day before you're about to leave, like this run, that something magical happens. I can't really explain it, but that's if speedrun karma is a real thing, if the speedrun gods are real, it's days like this that they really smile upon you. I can't really explain that. Maybe there's some like subconscious like sense of like added pressure, perhaps, that is contributing to that phenomenon. I don't know. But yeah, this was my last day before SGDQ. Funny enough is I'm here back in that same setup right now. You can see like the same door behind me and everything. But since this run, I've actually moved to Missouri for half a year and then came back to California for a month, which is where I'm at right now. This is my original setup here that, you know, that I guess came to be on. But I'm going to be moving now to Virginia. To stay with my my girlfriend. Since this run, I've gotten a girlfriend. I've done the subathon. I've done so much. I've got my YouTube channel has gone from like probably at the time of this run, maybe I had like 4,000 subs. I had like 10,000 subs on YouTube. Been working so hard on all these different things, and so it's interesting just to look back at like a snapshot of yourself in time and just kind of see, I guess, how far you've come.
My Spyro plushies to on my trip.
It's nothing like huge. It's not like I'm a fucking like big time anything now, but it's just it's not that different now, but it's cool to look back on it. That's all I'm saying. Miss the beard. Yeah, I did have a pretty big beard back then. I recently shaved it, but I'm letting it grow back in. It'll get back there. Don't worry. You'll notice that I shaved my mustache actually, but not the beard, because what happens is when I'd make my breakfast sandwich in the morning, I would like accidentally bite into my mustache. So I'd be like, well, I like my beard, but let me just shave down the mustache. So I was looking super Amish in this video here. Anyways, I know I haven't really been talking a lot about like the run itself. So let me see if we can hone it. I mean, it's just the beginning of it right now. I mean, if I'm going to assess the splits real quick, this is a very standard early game so far. Not perfect. You'll notice the Stonehill split was 653. Perfect for me would be like a 649. So this is definitely like a few seconds off perfect still. And think about that. If my early game was a little cleaner, or just if any of these splits were like just a little cleaner, it would have been the 120 and 120%. It brings me to my next kind of big regret about this run, is that I really choked it in the end game. And not in a big way, but I had some sloppiness that cost me the 120 right at the end. I remember that was like one of the biggest things that stuck out to me on this run, and it really soured the celebration for me. I remember I really just could not like be happy about the time. It was my first time getting a PB in this game and not being proud of it, or not being immediately excited about it. You know, with the exception of like maybe when I first started and I was getting just shit PBs, you know, but like ever since I've had like a 140 or below in this game, like every PB has been like, yes, you know, big celebration, right? But it is a common thing in speedrunning where like, you know, you'll see a world record holder get a new world record, and they're just like, this run sucked, could have been so much better. And I think part of that is that there is like this subconscious pressure that if you're going to have the world record, not just a PB, but the world record, it should be like perfect. It should be like the best run, you know? It's that added like mental craziness there that it's like, you just can't be happy with whatever you achieve at that point, you know? Nice wall glide here. Not too fast or crazy with this movement, but I got the quick load. Oh, I am smiling here. I'm starting. You know, one thing I'll note is that when I'm depressed at the start of runs, is that it really as I play, and especially if I'm on a decent pace, as I play, a lot of feelings from the start of a run to the end of a run will come and go and wash over me and wash away. I've noticed. An hour and a half or an hour and 21 minutes in this case it's a really long time. It's a long time when you start the run, you know, and you're feeling a certain way, to when you're in the middle of the run and you feel a certain way, and then when you're at the end of the run, you feel a different way. So at this point, I think I'm starting to loosen up a little bit. You know, I'm starting to get comfortable, starting to smile a bit more, you know, where I was a bit pissed at the start. I don't know if the YouTube chat can see this, if YouTube can see this chat. In your case, look at that bottom one. In your case, I think that you want the 120. Oh, you don't say. Here, I'll just leave this kind of a bit bigger and smaller here like this. I'll show you guys chats as I interact with them. In fact, I'll leave it like that for now. Wow, you don't say. Yeah, no shit, I want the 120. But that's just how it is. I mean, like,
still fun.
It's just how it is. When you want something, when you have a certain goal, one thing I've been talking about lately is a lot about expectations. Like every day you have to kind of go into it with like a new expectation. You have to like respond to how you're doing. And I'm not going to get too speedrun philosophy on it right now with you guys, but yeah. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat here. I'll go ahead and scroll through a bit. Someone asked earlier about like if you're just getting into this game, if you're a new speedrunner. My advice is don't look at me and be like, okay, let me do it like how he does it. Just as like a quick piece of advice. Because I'm like so far gone in this, you know, like I get way more emotionally. What am I doing here? What is this? What was that? What did I stand up there for? What the fuck was that? Well, either way, look, hey, you know, advice for new players aside, just play the fucking game, dude. That's my advice. But anyways, back to this run. 1131 Artisans, you can see on the splits up there, is really good. An ideal artist, that's basically an ideal Artisans for me. Low 1130s or even high 1120s is possible. But 1131, that's basically like among the best that you can do. That's as good as you can do the early game. You'll notice there were no major mistakes in that Artisans. Not even minor mistakes, really. I mean, I just played the whole homeworld clean, basically. My hair looks killer today, thanks. And you can see we got some spinners in the chat over here. Get that fucking taskbar out of here. Spinning Spyro's in the chat. You'll love to see it. Digbit, thank you for the sub. Welcome, man. There he is. He's a good emote. Drink some water here while we get through this flight level. Whispered the dude that asked that about what? About like if you're a new player? Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I noticed with new speedrunners is that there's a lot of
Dale, cheers.
Yo,
Dale,
let's go.
cheers,
Let's
Dale,
fucking go,
cheers, Dale,
Digbit.
cheers.
Love to see that. Cheers. With new players, there's a lot of like they do a lot more thinking than doing. This is common with any like, you know, mental whatever sport like this, you could call it mental esport type of thing, is that it's you can spend a lot of time thinking about it but not actually like progressing in it. Which is common, I think, amongst new players, especially, you know, you go in the chat, you're asking a million questions in chat, or on Discord. I see this on the Spyro Speedrunning Discord periodically. You'll see someone asking question after question, but they're like haven't even done a run, you know? It's like, just try, how about just try to play, you know? And like, you know, I know it sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how quickly you fall into that. Like, oh, well, maybe should I do it like this or should I do it like that? Don't fucking overthink it. Just fucking play the game. It's a simple game, guys. It's a very simple game. You guys watching this right now, you can very clearly see that I am losing like a couple seconds right there. Thank God, that was a pretty quick recovery, by the way. Not an easy jump to make, that recovery. But, you know, it's a fucking straightforward game. There's not a whole lot that's like hiding underneath the hood. There's like a couple little things, but, you know, you figure it out as you play, as you keep going and as you put down more runs. It's not the type of thing where you need to be front-loaded with all this information. Okay, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that, make sure you... No, just fucking turn on the game, turn on the timer, fucking play. There you go. Thank God the speedrun is so simple, you know? Like, not every speedrun is like that. There are a lot of speedruns out there where you can't even complete the route unless you practice certain tricks or whatever to get through it.
Thanks for the good luck, Blummer.
The Spyro task, you saw it and it was fun. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you checked that out. I actually reacted to 2 tasks. I'm hoping to see more Spyro 1 tasks in the future. I quite enjoyed reacting to some of those. They really give a window into, like, you know, what the limit, you know, what a theoretical limit in this game could be. It's a lot of fun, especially when the tasks are just more like they're not necessarily grounded in like the main categories, but they're like the silly % task was like my favorite task I've ever seen in this game. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out on my channel down below. And hey, are you subscribed right now? What the fuck are you doing, dude? Fucking hit the button.
Thanks.
You made it this far in the video and you're not subbed? Come on.
A little slip of the tongue.
But yeah, either way, thanks for watching. Yeah, pretty much the only mistake I've seen so far. I haven't been paying like the closest attention to the gameplay, but the only mistake I've seen so far is that damage in the home world. Not bad. New players have to practice stuff like wall glides? Yeah, sure. You know, sure. If you want to do that artisan's route, then sure, practice the wall glide for the toasty out of bounds. You don't have to do that, though. You can just literally do a more casual route where you, like, exit out of the dark hollow. You can do a totally out of bounds-less, wall glide-less speedrun of this game and still get, like, a really good time. You gotta remember all these tricks, like this spin jump right here, which is really tough and I've lost a lot of runs to. That spin jump right there, guess how much time that saves. Just guess. Can I get some guesses in the chat? How much time does that difficult jump that I lose dozens of runs to? How much time does it save, do you think? Compared to just doing it the easy way. Yeah, it's like 2 seconds. It's like a 2-second time difference compared to just routing that out. So this game is filled with those. So that's why I say if you're a new player, don't get so wrapped up in copying all the hard, like all the strats that I do, because most of them are totally not worth it, especially if you're not like a high-level player, you know? Yeah, 2 seconds for that jump that I've lost maybe hundreds of runs to. 2 seconds. You fail it once, you know, basically pointless, you know? A lot of strats in this game that you'll see in this run are like that.
Not bad.
Not bad. You'll see my attitude, as I mentioned, my attitude's getting better here.
Fucking sexy, if you ask me.
Yeah, fucking sexy, exactly. That's what I like to hear. That's what we like to hear.
Hey, Cherry. Thank you for the good luck. And Terj, love you.
Talking to my chat here. You can see I got the chat on screen here. This is from the actual run here. It looks like Laura was in the chat. Cheery. Big. What is it? Terj. Oh, shouts to Terj, the fucking God of War world record holder. Haven't seen him for a while. That's another fun thing about looking back at these older VODs from, like, you know, half a year plus ago is is that you'll see names that it's like, oh yeah, there's that guy, you know? Whatever happened to that guy? How consistent is the new any % skip? Someone asked earlier. I'll show here on the chat. Not consistent. You're talking about the boneless Days Bag of Bones' new trick. People are still messing with it. It's not like impossible. It's not like crazy. It's not as hard as some strategies. You know, there is an argument that it could be made as consistent as Coveless, but I think it's widely considered not to be as consistent as Rat Proxy yet. Yet is the key word there. But that's just my impression as of the current, you know, day today. You know, maybe if you're watching this video in a month or two, then that story may be different. Any advice for dealing with a breakup? You can see right here is the chat. Advice for dealing with a breakup. I don't really have any. I do have advice. I've gotten broken up with in a couple of long-term relationships in my life. My biggest like piece of wisdom that I took away from that was that if you really love her, if you really loved her or them or whoever, if you really love them, you'll know to let them go. You'll know when to let them go. If you know that they can't love you the same way you love them or vice versa, then if you really love them, you know, then you have to let them go. That's what, if you really loved them, that's what you would do. Think about that. That's like kind of a mind fuck, right? Because if you act like, oh, you're so infatuated with someone and you love them so much, but then you're like fucking texting them after they broke up with you and bothering them and shit, that's not what someone who loves another person would do. So that was like a big thing. That was a big like thing I had to kind of like learn through a breakup. It's like I wanted so badly to be like, you know, to call them or text them, and I had to stop myself and be like, no, like I love them more than to do that to them, than to make this harder like that. You guys are all suggesting crying and drinking and having fun and stuff. That shit's good too. Let it all out. I mean, honestly, let it all out. Cry, whatever, you know. It's tough, you know, going through a breakup. It's tough. I'm not here to say it's easy or anything. Yeah, no problem, Exto. I got you, bro. Yeah, it's okay to be a little bitch about it. Dude, I'm fucking... You're talking to the king of little bitches up here. I mean, fuck, this whole run I'm a little bitch, basically. You had a lot of fun after a breakup. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be single. It's nice to be in a relationship. Nothing's perfect. That's another thing to remember. It's never going to be like... one impression I think that I used to have as a single person is that, like, God, if I just had a girlfriend, then all of the worst parts of my life would be better. Which, in a sense, that sometimes is true, but it's not really. That's not really true, you know, because you trade off, you know, certain freedoms and certain like happinesses that you have as a single person. You're free as a single person. You can do whatever you want, you know. And you don't really realize that until you're with someone, and then vice versa. When you're with someone, you think, God, if I was just single, I'd be able to do this, this, this. And I'm not talking about just hooking up with people. I'm talking about just like, you know, not having to think about what someone else wants or have some responsibility over them in a way. So it's never perfect is what I'm trying to say. When you're single, you want to be with someone. When you're with someone, you want to be single. It's like you're never, you know, it's never like one situation is like the perfect answer. But in case Sarah's watching this right now, I don't want to be single. I want to be with you. I love you. Hopefully that doesn't age badly on this video. I hope not. Oh god, this fucking video is all... Was that... Now hold on, I'm gonna actually go back in this video. I'm curious if that stutter was from Twitch or not. I'm just gonna watch the beginning of this level one more time. There was a little stutter there. Yeah, so you'll notice there was that stutter in the video there. And the thing about that is that's what happens when you export a video directly from your Twitch channel. There's actually a button on Twitch, like on your video thing, That's just press, you know, export to YouTube. You just press the button and it goes to your YouTube channel, which is what this is. But the thing about that is that Twitch's encoding is fucking trash. And so you'll get like little hiccups like that, which, you know, ordinarily, you know, for most videos are not a big deal. But for a world record speedrun, you know, a world record speedrun, a little hiccup like that, you know, if you wanted to be a bitch about that, hiccups like that are the difference between a run being legit and not, you know? So that's part of the reason why I always post, anytime I get a really good run, I try to post it on gameplay only, the local recording, not the Twitch VOD, but the local recording on my second channel, just gameplay only. Because then that way it's like, okay, if someone wants to be a bitch about like little Twitch hiccups, I mean, they could get much worse than that, believe me. They could be like full-on stream crashes sometimes, you know? Yeah, splice alert. Yeah, exactly. How many local recordings do I save? What I do is I keep a hard drive. I have like a 2 terabyte hard drive that all of my local recordings automatically save to after every stream. I fully locally record every stream, and then those are saved just on the hard drive there. And then whichever ones I want, I can convert those to MP4s and then use them as I want. But eventually, every few months or so, I do have to go through and like delete a bunch of them and whatnot. I'm not huge on backing stuff up. What I should do, and this is like really annoying, I've tried doing this. What I should do is I actually have an even bigger hard drive that I was planning on taking my entire YouTube channel and putting it on. You know, download every video individually from YouTube and just put it on the fucking hard drive. You guys have any idea how long that fucking takes? I have like several hundred videos on this channel, and most of them are over an hour long, like full runs like this. That shit, like, to do that from start to finish, it would take maybe like a week. It would take so long. But I mean, that's what you have to do if you want to back stuff. Either you're doing that or you're backing it up as you go along, which I'm definitely not. I'm much more scattered than that. But hey, I mean, it's all good. Hey, if my YouTube channel gets deleted,
probably losing a couple seconds.
Fucking here. Whatever, dude. I'll be sad, but it's the way of the world. Yeah, there's probably a script. Yeah, you're right, Murderic. There's probably a script that you can like use that does that whole process for you, I'm sure.
No, I'm dead even. I'll take it.
What's the goal of this category? 125x. That is correct. So yeah, my goal with this category is 125x. Exactly. You know, and truth be told, like any further than that, I personally don't think is something I may really want to go for. You know, the only reason I want to improve this run is because of the 120 and 120%, first of all. And secondly, because I was being a little bitch-ass baby on this, you know? I'm being a little baby.
25:47. Very nice pace so far.
I was very... What I will say is that you could tell that my attitude is very controlled. Like, everything's very, like... I'm in control of, like, all of my, you know, thoughts and feelings and stuff. But still, though, I'm being a little baby, though, for the most part. K of Chaos, thank you for the sub. Cheers. And I'm speaking a lot more to, like, by the way, I just want to address that. I'm speaking a lot more to, like, where I'm feeling and where my head was at and how I feel about that now on this commentary, more than I am about the gameplay. Because, look, this run is really good. 25:47 Peacekeepers, guys. Let me give you some perspective. Like, a run that is, like, 26 or below, like, you know, 10 seconds slower than that is still amazing and world recordable. So, like, I'm on a hot pace. I'm basically not really making any mistakes here and kind of keeping the movement solid. And there's not much to say beyond that. I mean, what else do you want me to say? It's a good run, you know?
Big time save here if we play well.
Yeah, and so, you know, when mistakes do happen, I'll try to point them out. But one thing, and I touched on this earlier, one thing that's beautiful about speedrunning this game, whether you're a high-level, you know, expert like me or you're just a brand new viewer, is you can see very clearly where I save and lose time. Now, with that said, there are ways that you sort of save time, you know, more invisibly by like increasing the momentum preservation and by taking quicker lines and things like that. But just the raw like time loss mistakes of like bonking or missing gems, those are very obvious. So, you know, I don't feel the need to be like sitting here like with a magnifying glass pointing each of those out to you or anything. And then calculating it all at the end or whatever. Oh, that was a second right there, guys. Did you see that? You know, like, that's not really the point of this commentary, I don't think. You know, it's more like where was I? Just giving you like an insight, I guess, into my mind frame. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm talking a lot about the attitude and whatnot. Notice now, I will point out I do a different route here now, where I grab those other boxes early. So that's one improvement, I guess. Maybe it saves a second or something. Pretty cool. It allows for that platform cycle to be better, anyways. I also try to go for 3 of those metal boxes. There are little things I do differently, but it's nothing huge. Nothing that's more than a couple seconds here or there.
Man, this is pretty sloppy so far. I ain't gonna lie to you guys.
Yeah, so K of Chaos asks, okay, well, you know, you saved, you know, like this level, obviously I lost maybe like, God, I don't know, like 3 to 5 seconds at least, you know, just in raw, like, mistakes. But, and so when you see that and you're like, well, just don't make those mistakes and it's the 120. But I'm sorry to inform you, but it's just not that, I wish it was that simple. In theory, it is that simple. Theoretically speaking, if I get the exact same run as this, but just do one level slightly better, then it is the 120 and 120%. But the thing is that this run is, this is the part that is disregarded when you think that way, is that this run is the culmination of 10 years of daily grinding, or at least we'll say like 10 years of speedrunning, like 3 or 4 years of daily grinding. And this was just a, you know, this was just a fucking miracle, truly, of a run, a shooting star of a run. That these don't come, even when I'm playing amazing, runs like this do not come along, you know, like that. It's not just as clear cut as, oh, just don't make that 2-second mistake, lol, and you got it. It's I'm a human, and it's a full human playthrough every time. And so, like I'm talking about the attitude, it's like that plays into it. Little tiny route differences, how I'm feeling, like all this stuff has a really big effect. How long I've been grinding on a given day. All this stuff like plays into whether it's even like realistic for me to recreate this run. A lot of times I ask myself if it's realistic for me to ever even recreate this run, despite still playing at a high level for like day after day as a full-time streamer. That's how fucking good this run is. You know, and so to that end, it's like, do I really need the 120? You know, I ask myself that a lot. It's like, do I really need the 120 in this category? It's not going to be... It'd basically be like, I improved this run by a couple seconds. And so, like, but it's like basically the same run, you know, if you think about it. What I hope for is that if I do get it, that I have like a better attitude, you know, personally. That's more like where my head's at. And if I don't get it, then this run is still probably, this is a dangerous thing to say in speedrunning, and I'm going to say it. This run will probably never be beaten by anybody besides me. Probably. At least the way it looks now for the next year or two. At least I can speak to my current optics, but you know, unless someone is willing to put in as much effort as I have, which I mean, frankly, I mean, time will tell, I guess. But I mean, just that whole like thought process, to get back to the original chat, the whole thought process of like, okay, well, you lost 2 seconds, you know, from that bonk or something. So there's your 120, you know, just do another run, but that doesn't bonk there. It's like, it's almost like rude how like disregarding of the whole like pursuit of speedrunning, of single segment speedrunning is. It's just not that simple. Like, I wish it was that simple. If I was a robot, it would be that simple. If it was just like a matter of me like just literally recreating the exact same run, you know, then yeah, but I've been, as I said, this record is like 8 months old. By the way, this supercharge is awesome. Love it. This is the Bike Cave supercharge. This jump is really annoying, by the way. You got to land really early in that room, after the first jump, you have to land early in order to get that second jump. A lot of people struggle with that. It's actually, people do that supercharge even longer in any percent. They do it through this entire area here. And yeah, people complain about that on the Spyro Speedrun Discord a lot. Because, I mean, it just is the objective, like, one of the best, like, routes in this level. Both for 120 and any percent. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm not a robot, is all I'm trying to say. And this is really, like, you know, this is my peak, you could say. And I've been at my peak for, like, 8+, you know, months, you could say. Like, It's very much like this crazy like mental fucking game that I'm like playing with myself of like, dude, am I getting worse? Am I getting better? You just can't tell. So progress is not like a straight line like that, especially when you're at this level in something. When you've gone further than any other human has in something, it's just everything is just so unclear. So my best approach is to not overthink it. Is the whole moral of this, is like, just don't overthink it, just play, just have fun. If you get a 121 or low 121 or a 122, 123, like just try to have a good fucking attitude, because when I look back at this run again, like I want to reiterate that I don't really like this attitude, you know, for the most part. I mean, right now it's fine, but especially at the beginning of this run, kind of embarrassing, and especially at the end of this run as well. It's just like that. This is your magnum opus, bro. This is the, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't like it. I don't like that. It's like, I don't even fucking care about the game anymore. I'm just like, okay, the game's a great run. You know? It's so much more to me than that now, I guess. For better or for worse.
Close.
Anyways, we're getting into what I would consider like the real make it or break it section of the game here. You'll notice I had a really good supercharge in high caves. And this wizard peak, I'm hoping for basically a good wizard proxy and to not get fucked over by the supercharges here. This is where a lot of runs die. A lot of runs die here. Or world record paces die. It's not necessarily that like I can't continue, you know, from mistakes in these levels, but generally speaking, in most of these two levels, like that little trick right there, you're gonna miss either that or one of the supercharges, and each one of those is like 5 to 10 seconds lost, which is enough to make or break world record. Just like the shit we were saying earlier. Oh, just don't, you know, have that time loss. It's like it disregards the things I did right in this run, which is this whole section. Now, I did miss the blue from that wizard, which that wizard's a bitch. It's not even my fault. That's just how that wizard has like a fucked up hitbox. But yeah, we're gonna hopefully get him on the second time around after this death abuse. Beautiful little thief animation skip by going off the edge like that, and then we're gonna see the second wizard here. Oh, well, actually, there's a mistake right there. So what I tell you, Boom, there's like 3 seconds, and that's like not that bad, you know? Like it gets so much worse than that, and that's not even my. Pay attention to the fact that I supercharged through that wizard twice and missed the gem both times. You know, it's like there's a lot of that. That's kind of like what I'm saying, is that you have to get kind of lucky in these two splits. It's a real make or break. Even when you're playing well, these two splits are real make or break. A lot of runs die here in these two splits. World records, I should say, die in these two levels.
Hey, thanks for the question, Raz, dude. There's a routing reason for it. I grabbed the gems through the wall. I can't explain it right now. I need to focus.
You hear that? I'm stressed, dude. Stressing, dude. I know I'm on potential world record pace here. I mean, it says so on the splits anyways. $32.49 high caves. That's really insane. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ban you because I don't really trust you. See ya.
Alright, still energy not to lose time. I did the whole rest of the level basically perfect, basically. So that little time loss from the wizard wasn't...
But yeah, so I mean, just like my whole attitude here, I don't know. Scroll up. I don't want to look at your fucking message. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just stressed, you know. You go back and you listen to yourself be all stressed out like that. It's not a good feeling. And again, this is something I should look back and be like, this is my crowning achievement in life, dude. Like, straight up for me. Like, this whole game, like, I've never been more dedicated to something in my life. Okay, so here we go. Serious question. Let me scroll up here. Where is it? Serious question. How has it been? Here, I'll make the chat bigger so you guys can see. How has it been switching between all of the setups the past year? I think it's impressive as hell, and a very underrated skill to shift back and forth, knowing the smallest details affect gameplay. Thank you. Yeah, so with switching setups, I actually don't think I'm very good at it. actually, believe it or not. I think I'm actually very picky with my setups, more than most people should be. Yeah, I've developed setups that are good for me, like both here in California. I got this amazing Trinitron over here. It's the awesome TV, awesome setup. You know, the controllers are a big thing. The controllers kind of degrade over time, so I'm lucky to have a controller that I like, a couple controllers that I really like right now. And then I'm gonna be heading to Missouri soon, and then that's a different, you know, TV, different setup that I've gotten used to. A lot of this stuff, like I can do like a decent run on like maybe a suboptimal setup, but it will lose like a few minutes actually. And that's like what you'll see from my GDQ or ESA showings, is that the setups are just not up to my snuff, you know. And the thing that kind of drives me crazy about it is that other runners don't seem to really care. Like it's just like, okay, it's fine. Like, and yeah, it is fine, you know. But I remember asking other like world record holders at GDQ, I was like, hey, do you ever worry? Does the input latency or the different setup ever like throw you off? And they're like, no, it's fine for me. So I think I'm actually more of, you know, to what you're saying, I think I'm actually more of a bitch than most people are when it comes to that type of thing. And so the setups that I actually have at, you know, my various places of residence, I take a lot of time to make sure that they are how I like them.
I mean, like a few seconds.
I'm probably more crazy about that than most people are. Death stare? There was a death stare? Where was it? Was that the beginning of this level? I'll go look at it. You mean up there?
Sorry, I'm not perfect.
Sorry, I'm not perfect. Shut the fuck up, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, just... It's embarrassing to listen to myself be like this. Sorry, I'm not perfect. Like, dude, shut up. Jamie, thanks for the good luck. So I think that's the real reason I want to improve this run. It's like not even like the it's not even the 120 that is so much anymore. It's just like I want to run that I'm like proud of myself looking back on it, you know. And perhaps that's maybe one reason why I've like held off perhaps from doing this commentary, is that it's like I just don't like this run, not just for the gameplay but just for how I am. It's just not me. This version of me is not me, you know?
Would not like to see sloppy stuff like this, to be honest with
you. I mean, it is me, but it's just not, yeah. You guys get what I'm saying. How often do I end up replacing controllers? On average, I switch controllers once every 1 to 3 months is usually how long I make a single controller last. Sometimes they last less. Sometimes they don't last very long. Sometimes they last a long time. My current blue controller, I guess you could say my old controller is lasted me over 3 months at this point, I think. So quite happy with that. And I do have to periodically open them up and change out pads and, you know, and stick caps and things like that. So I do a lot of maintenance on my controllers as well. And I literally talk to people like Rubik's or Count Creep about, like, you know, having them refurbish and send me controllers as well. So I'm very far gone in the controller meta, you could say, I guess. But I mean, it's just plastic and a fucking pressure sensor on a motherboard. You know, this shit degrades pretty easily. Yeah, it's a salty world record for sure. It shows I've grown. Well, thank you. I'm glad you think that I've grown. That if you guys are seeing that, then that, like, you know, that really affirms it for me. It's like hearing yourself singing. If you're amazing, you're still cringe to yourself. I think I hear what you're saying. Like when you hear yourself talking on the phone, it's like, ooh, I really sound like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm totally used to that. Like going back and watching my own videos and being, I call me vain, but I will go back and watch a video that I'm proud of and be like, ha ha ha, that's amazing, you know, or ah, it's so funny. I'll like watch myself say something funny and be like, ha ha, like how fucking vain is that, you know? I'm past that point where like hearing myself is cringe or whatever. Like this is what I do. You gotta remember, this is what I do every day. You know, I have to go through and like look at my VODs and, you know, make YouTube videos and stuff. So I'm past that point where I'm like, oh, everything I do is cringe. There are videos, a lot of videos you'll see on my channel are videos I'm proud of that I'll go back and watch in full just to affirm that pride, I guess you could say. And it's not like oh, everything just hearing myself is cringe. But with this run, because of my attitude here, it is. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not just like, oh, okay, I hear like you're a singer, you hear yourself sing and you think everything's terrible. It's not like that. Even though I do feel that way about a lot of runs I do, that is a feeling to get over when it comes to reflecting on your own gameplay and speedrunning, is just not focusing on every mistake. That's more like what you're talking about. that's more where the metaphor is, I think, is it's not so much about looking at your self-talk or whatever, but it's like it's about how you assess your own gameplay. And I think I'm far beyond the point where I just think everything I do is cringe and terrible. But I mean, yeah, I still have shades of that within myself, of course. You know, you never fully get over that. Massages are nice, I believe that. Are there any differences between this world record route and the current? Well, right there was one difference. Actually, I'm so that was a perfect time for you to ask that question. I'll actually go back and show this real quick. This is one of the few points where there is an actual route difference. Oh wait, maybe there's not. Hold on. These. Oh, just kidding. I was lying. I thought I skipped these. Most players will skip those and go straight into the portal here. I thought I did that on this run. I guess not. No, it's pretty much, for the most part, it's pretty much the same route. There's little tiny points that I am trying to point out when I see them, but it's basically the same fucking route. Dude, can I blow your mind for a sec on top of like routing differences? This is the same basic route through the game. Now, I'm not talking about like you skip a box here, like that shit. Okay, skip a box and grab it later. Not that type of thing. I'm talking like the whole level is like different. That doesn't really happen in this game. You know, there are examples of that, like in Lofty, for example. Some people will like switch their route up, but I've basically been doing the same route in this game on a general scale, the same basic routes through these levels since I fucking learned this game. It's the same basic level order. It's the same basic like you go here, you go here, you go here. Some levels have changed with time, but for the most part, it's the same run it was when I learned this shit a decade ago. Think about that. How many speedruns are like that in this world? It's the same basic fucking run. I mean, think about it. The gems are in the same place every time. You have to grab the gems, like, in the optimal way. There's only so many routes you can do that make sense in this game. You know? And so, a lot of times you'll see reroutes, like, totally, you have to get really creative to reroute this category because like the gems are where they are. You have to just grab them as they are. You know, there's not a lot of room. This isn't like with any percent or vortex where you can like take different routes or do different tricks and stuff. It's like you gotta grab those fucking gems, dude. Whether no matter how fancy your fucking movement is, you know. So to that end, it's really been the same general route since fucking 2013, dude. Like, which I think all makes this run. Makes how far I've come in this game all the more impressive, personally. I know that's not very humble of me to say, but yeah, there hasn't been like a major reroute of this game, like, really ever. The most major thing found in this game since I started playing in 2013 was credit skip. Which isn't even a reroute, really, per se. It just skips the credits. And then besides that, as far as reroutes are concerned, like, maybe I'll do like a different Lofty or something than I did back then, or a different Ice Cavern route. And those really only will save like maybe 2 to 10 seconds at the most. And those are the only two levels where there is a full level reroute. I guess Dreamweaver's Homeworld as well, if you count the wall glide there. That's another 5 seconds if you hit it with the right life and sparks count. So it's just like, the whole concept of rerouting in this category, like it's not a big thing. It's everyone is basically doing the same playthrough here. There are some little where it gets interesting is the tiny differences. Okay, I hit that guy first, then the other guy. I'm jump charging in certain spots. You got to look with much more of a magnifying glass than with like the whole level route. You got to be looking at like, okay, I'm going here now. Here's a reroute I want to point out. Take a look at this. I climb up here, and then instead of grabbing those reds, I turn around and grab these. I invented that reroute, but how much time do you think it arguably doesn't even save time to do that. I just prefer it like that. I found that, so I do that. And this game is just full of that. That's every reroute in this game is like that. So yeah, that's like what this game and like routing is. Was this before or Thorntrap asks up above here, was this before or after the any percent back-to-back records? This was before, I think. Was it? I don't remember. Does it say the date on this video? Well, let's take a look at this Guanton.
Oh, I missed one of the boxes.
Oh, I missed a box. That's pretty bad. Let's see if I get hit here. Yeah, that's fine. That's not a huge time loss. 47-13. It's going to be sub 47-40 or sub 47-30. Really good split here. I'm taking mental note. Part of the reason I wanted to do this commentary is I'm taking mental note of where some of these split times are. Yeah, 47-23 is really good there.
Lucky considering how bad
Literally sub 48 is really good there. So think about the pace at this point, you know, insane. What do I think is the theoretical? Hold on, let me read some more of these. Do I ever go into an emulator and look for micro optimizations? No, I leave that to other people. Maybe that's to my own, you know, disadvantage or whatever, but usually if other people are doing that, they will share it on the Spyro Discord, and then if they share it on the Spyro Discord, I'll try it out, and then what inevitably happens is that I try it, and then I usually don't implement it right away, and then if it is worth implementing, someone else will, and then I'll feel the pressure to actually implement it. That's how that goes for me. What do I think is the theoretical best? The theoretically actually, you don't even need to ask me. There's a theoretical human theory task of this category that gets a 121.30 something, which is actually slower than this run. But there's emulator load times to take into account, load time differences. So in theory, if you had a perfect run that does even crazier unnecessary micro reroutes, that makes no mistakes and pushes the movement the whole time, which is something a human will never achieve, by the way, then that's like maybe like a 118, somewhere between 115 and 119. Depending on how fucking, you know, optimal you're talking. If you're talking like task level, it's like a 115. But if you're talking like humanly possible, it's a 120.
And thanks, Rico.
I don't think humans are going to be, again, without more crazy, like, big time saves found in this game, which I don't anticipate happening. I don't see humans going beyond 1 hour, 20 minutes and XX seconds. Read some more of these. I remember the first time I ever clicked on the stream. Oh, thank you. I discovered you just after the Ricky video. Thank you for checking that out. Does emulator run at the same speed as PS1? No, it's not. I mean, there's a whole conversation about this. Emulator for this game has lower lag time in the level during the gameplay itself, but it has longer load times for level transitions and for dragons. So the emulator is a net time loss on PS2 fast disk speed. But if we were to take out all of the loads, like if you were to just look at a level from first movement to end movement, then an emulator is technically slightly faster due to optimized lag emulation.
Love you, man. And thanks for the bit.
That's part of the reason why it's hard to implement a loadless timer in this game is because it kind of makes emulator de facto like slightly better. But that's just one of many reasons why that's like a complicated issue. Now, I didn't opt to go for the out of bounds route here, interestingly. It might have been, I'm not sure if I knew about it at this time or if I was just trying to play it safe. But I always go for the out of bounds here now. It's a pretty good route. I mean, I got much better at it during my any % grind. Again, I don't remember if I got this run before or after my any. I feel like I got it after, right? Yeah, because my any % grind was all the way back in like early 2021, and this run happened in 2022. So, yeah, I definitely knew about that out of bounds route at this time, and yeah, I guess because I was on such a good pace here, I opted not to go for it, which is something I wouldn't do today. Interestingly, it is annoying to go for the out of bounds and miss it. That is like a good 3 seconds loss there. Yeah, back in the day before I knew I loved you. Some streamers split. Oh, here's an interesting question. Some streamers split at different times. Like, I split on the second I exit, and some split not until the returning home screen. The reason for that is totally personal preference. One reason for that is that I personally my preference is to just hit the button as quickly as possible. It makes me feel like I'm going faster. It kind of adds that feeling of like, all right, we're trying to play this game as quickly as possible. So right when you get to the end of the level, you exit the level, bam, you hit the fucking split button. And I used to do that manually with my hand on the spacebar. I used to go like kabam like that on the fucking on the keyboard. and if you watch my older runs, you'll hear that every split is like kaboosh, you know, on the fucking key. But the thing about that is when you take your hand off the controller so quickly, it's easy to miss the level exit. So you think you exited the level, but you didn't, and you take your hand off, and you're like, whoa, you're fumbling around. So what I did is I have a split pedal now to get around that, to split as quickly as possible. But what other people do is they do what you said. They wait until like a visual cue on the level transition. Yo, J Nick, thank you for the sub. For me, I can't do it because it just feels like wrong to like be waiting there. Like imagine you do a level well, and then it's like you're just watching the time like go down, you know, like as it's reaching the split, you know, you're waiting for it, and then it's okay, now I can split, like right there, you know, for example. It's like for me that's just arduous. That's just mentally arduous to deal with. But for other runners don't care. And the truth is that if you do it that way, if you wait for a visual cue on the load transition, it is more accurate, which that's actually what most people care about, is that splits are like as accurate as possible. I'm kind of unique in that I don't really care about my splits being like the most accurate thing, especially when it comes to sum of best, like gold splits. I don't worry about those, as you guys know. I just let them be whatever they are. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're usually wrong, you know. So, yeah, I'm kind of different than most runners in terms of how accurate I care about my splits being. I'd rather it just feel satisfying to split than it being the most accurate thing.
53.43. This is one of my best paces ever.
Yeah, 53.43. In fact, I have gotten better paces than this since then. I have gotten 53.3Xs, only like a small handful of times. But this is amongst my best, you know, paces ever, as I mentioned up there. 53.43 is insane. For reference, a 121 is possible at 54. I would say 121 is possible at 54, like 1 or 2x. Like you can still get a 121 with like a mid 54 if you play really well in the end game, which most people don't. That's another thing, is that and this is not to talk shit on other runners, but just kind of if you want to know like what's the difference between me and other runners, it starts in this homeworld. You know, there are other runners in the past before me, like Saboom and Chris and others, who have really good early and mid games. But the homeworlds that myself and also Saboom have really pioneered in terms of optimization have been Magic Crafters and Dreamweavers. Those are two homeworlds that most people lose multiple minutes on, even on their best runs. So that's just worth pointing out. If you're curious what's the difference between me and like Chris or Spora or Saboom, a lot of it comes down to just those homeworlds. Yeah, 2 Deos. Once again, if you're just getting here, that's old Deo. This is current Deo. That was the wizard proxy, by the way. There's a whole setup for that. I don't even stress it so much anymore. I usually get that job. I would say I'm like 80-90% consistent with that. It is a very precise trick with a setup. If you're curious about learning that, it's a pretty fun trick to do. I do have a whole tutorial playlist, which is linked on my channel. You can check that out. Be the Haunted Towers tutorial. It's organized by level. Do I mix rat proxy? I think what you're asking is hold on, I'll scroll up so you guys can see that. I think this guy's asking, do I miss rat proxy? Not mix, but miss. The answer is no. I do not miss rat proxy. In fact, rat proxy was a very annoying, was objectively the hardest part of the any percent grind. It's very mentally arduous to put down like a really good run and then to just know that you're most likely going to lose it, like right at the end. Like that's like what you expect, is that you're going to lose it right after you do like most of the run really well. It's very frustrating. Choco, thank you for the sub. Chugger's in the chat. Cute little face there. What's next after the 120? That's a great question. I personally do not plan on ever stopping streaming or speedrunning this game. But with the direction, what I say is, where the direction my content is heading is that, especially once I get the 120, is that I'm not going to be as hardcore with this game, but I will still play it basically every day. The truth is that my audience wants to see me play this game or other Spyro games, and if I had to pick between this or Spyro 2 and 3 or other Crash games, I would still, even despite having the goal time in this game, which again, I kind of already achieved. It's just like a couple seconds off. I basically have already achieved my goals in this game. If we're going to go there about it, I mean, I've gone as far as any human needs to go, you know, to validate like being the best speedrunner, you know, at the main categories. You know what I'm saying? So, so what's going to happen when I get the 120, if I get the 120, is that there will probably be some time saved to be had. You know, it'll go for the 124x or 123x. But just like now, it's like I'm okay with having like a multi-month long drought of PBs. You know, only do one run a day, focus on other content, mods, these commentaries, things like that. You know, it's just as time goes on, I'm going to gradually, hopefully gradually shift into more just tangentially related Spyro or Crash related speedrun content that isn't necessarily just me grinding out for world record all fucking day.
Take the death abuse.
Which I'm already like, I'm already on my way to that, you know? So it's just like this gradual shift that I think is just going to come with time. It's not the sort of thing I'm going to rush. It's not going to be like, okay, once I get the 120, then I'm done with this game and I'm shifting gears, you know, or whatever. It's like I'm taking that sort of stuff like as my heart tells me, you know. And I sense that, you know, I sense that even when I get the 120, I'm not going to want to stop like speedrunning this, you know. I just genuinely, look, I'm going to say it like this, guys. I was put on this earth to speedrun this category of this game. Not any percent, not Vortex, 120%. That is my purpose in, I'm not even, just, it might sound kind of silly, but that's like kind of my purpose in life, like, is to do that. Whether I get the 120 or not, this is like, I know for a fact when I play this game and I stream it, like I feel comfortable. I feel like this is what my purpose is. You know, it's so rare to find something like that, guys. I'm sure all of you guys can attest to that. It is hard to find a purpose in this world. And I'm so lucky that, you know, I found a purpose in this game and that you guys support me. You know, what the fuck? So if I get the 120, it's like, it would be so silly of me to just quit. You know, it's like, what? That's just makes no sense. But eventually I will move on. I mean, you know, we're all human. You know, you can't just do the same thing your whole entire life. So we grow, you know, and I'm gonna grow, you know, whether I get the 120 or not. Is kind of how I look at it. Like internally, I'm gonna grow as a person and go on to other stuff. Gamozo, thank you for another $200. Gamozo actually tipped $400 in total today. Gifted $200 at the start and $200 now. So huge shouts to Gamozo for being really generous. Really appreciate that. When I say the 120, this is how you can know, Based Cat. Is when I say this is, check out here's Based Cat's chat here. When I say the 120, like you talking about 120 is confusing because it's 120, you know. Listen for the word the, because when I say, oh, I'm going for the 120, I mean the time. That's how you can know. Little cheat code. Oh, you didn't tip again? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm kind of glad it's just the one. I was starting to get a little uncomfortable with the amount of money there, so thanks. Thanks for not doing it again. I appreciate that. Thanks for the good luck, GL. The run we are watching right now is the 121.02 world record. You can see the title right here. This is the world record that I set 8 months ago. And I'm finally getting around to doing the world record commentary for it now, which you'll see on my channel hopefully tomorrow. And if you're watching on YouTube, I love you. Type a letter G in the comments because you're a G if you made it this far into the video. Cheers. Chug is in the chat. Yeah, you really have to wait with those three guys. Those three guys are so fucking annoying. They like really slow down your vibe there. It's like you gotta be patient. This game is all about patience, y'all. This game is knowing when to push it and when to be patient. There's a lot of that in this game. Teaches you, that's discipline right there, my friends. This game teaches you true discipline. Okay, now you'll notice with this cannon, I started kind of tapping it a little bit. There's a glitch you can get where if you aim the cannon wrong or just get unlucky, it'll never hit one of those guys. The guy on the left usually. And it's called cannon glitch, and that has killed many a world record in the past, not just by me but others. Yeah, you guys know what to do. Shemp boys represent in the comments. Shemp boys don't exist, by the way. Can I just say that? I've had that little quote right there, like Shemp boys represent. That's just been like a little silly thing that was in my about section of my Twitch bio for basically as long as I've had a channel, for like basically a decade now. And not once has that ever turned into a meme or anyone been like, this runs for the Shemp boys, you know? No one's the Shemp boys are just they were dead before they even existed. Who the fuck are the Shemp boys, dude? I don't know. I've never seen one in my life. I don't know. But if you're a Shemp boy, if you're a Shemp fan, if you're a Shemp simp, or possibly you're a Shemp boy as well, or girl, hey, let me know in the comments. Shouts to the Shemp boys. Yeah, Shemp boys are fake as far as I know. But hey, maybe these comments will change my viewpoint. Shemp theys as well. Do world record holding speedrunners ever get worried that once they retire, someone finds a new proxy that saves them a bunch of time, prior runs obsolete? Yeah, I mean, that's not something that I worry about with this category. But it is something like in other games where it's a consideration that once you get a world record, it could be made obsolete by a new discovery. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure many a world record have pondered that. World record holder have pondered that in different games. I'm actually very confident that this category has pretty much reached its peak in terms of tricks and optimizations found. I was talking about this earlier. The only two things that could be found that would really improve this category in a very significant way, as in more than like 2 to 5 seconds saved from some little micro routing. The only two really significant time saves that could theoretically be found are Nestor Skip, which already exists but is slow, and early loot. If you can find a way to get into Nasty's loot, even when you get to Nasty's homeworld, if you can find a way to break into Nasty's loot without needing to kill Nasty Nork, then that could change this category in a significant way as well. The reason for that is because percentage is calculated based on the gem count once you enter Nasty's loot. Percentage for this game, you know, you get up to 100% with the gems, the dragons, and the egg thieves until Nasty's loot. You get up to 100%, then you unlock Nasty's loot. Then once you're in Nasty's loot, it only looks at your gem count because that's all there is in that level. So in theory, all you would need is 14,000 gems if you were able to find a early loot. But then at that point, you would still need the 50 dragon requirement to get into Nasty's homeworld without cheating as well. So a balloonist skip, I guess, if that could be found, would also be very significant for this game. But all of those things are as far as I can understand, are probably not going to be found. Ever. But hey, I mean, but never say never. I mean, right? I mean, who knows? This game is not like other speedruns. I mean, this game is so well made. Like, I think that's one thing that a lot of Spyro experts will tell you, is that this game is probably one of the most like solidly built like speed games ever. There's so many fail safes built into this game. For example, you guys know about proxies, like where you bounce into the air and shit. Also, I will point out that I am not doing, real quick before I go on this tangent, I will point out that I'm not doing the fastest route here.
We could have made that cycle right there.
I would have thought that I did, but I guess I didn't. This route loses 5 to 10 seconds compared to the actual optimal one, and that's a whole nother discussion. But anyways, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, like things like proxies or whatever, those are all intentional fail-safes built into the game so that Spyro doesn't literally get stuck inside of objects. You know, you guys ever think about that? This game is built with fail-safes that stop like game-breaking glitches from happening. Like it's actually really cool that a game from this era had so much foresight in its development, especially considering like the time crunch, you know, the rush to get it out the door. Like, it's impressive that this game this run is arguably a glitchless speedrun. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube right now and you're thinking like, oh, well, I saw you go through the wall, so that's a glitch. Collision not being on the wall is not the same thing as getting stuck inside of a wall and the game's code breaking. I have a much more strict definition of a glitch than you might on YouTube, just FYI. But so with that said, this is as far as I'm concerned, this is a glitchless speedrun. And if you're curious about my definition of a glitch, it has to be something that corrupts the game's code. Points a memory address to the wrong place. Something that's within the game's code that functions incorrectly. That is my strict definition of a glitch. Going out of bounds is not the code functioning incorrectly. It's just the lack of collision on an object. And proxies are not a glitch because they are a fail-safe mechanic that was actually built into the game, functioning as it was built. There's no there's no corruption of the code when you see a proxy. So that's like my little aside about glitches. But if you're watching this on YouTube right now and you're thinking like, well, hey, like play the game, like, hey, you're supposed to lift the other platform there. Play the game. What if you did a casual run where you played it as intended? My answer to that is that I already did it. I've already gone past that. I'm already past that point. And the way I would say it is that there is no difference between a casual run and a speed run. And what I mean by that is that when you're at my point, when you put 1,000 hours into a game, the speed run is the natural evolution of your casual gameplay. This is a casual playthrough played optimally. The only thing that doesn't make it casual is that I don't suck like you. What you're really asking when you say just play casually is just arbitrarily just do things badly and try to infer what the developers wanted at certain points and try to do what you think they thought. That's what you're saying, which is fucking arbitrary as hell, don't you think? Like, so there is no real difference between a casual speedrun, or a casual playthrough and a speedrun. It's that the speedrun evolves from the casual playthrough. Kind of mind-blowing stuff, huh? But yeah, I can't just go through and play. When you say, Deo, try a casual playthrough, you would have to be more specific than that. You would have to say, do a playthrough where you do only developer-intended strategies, and you don't do proxies, you don't flame charge, you don't charge glide. You have to be very specific about the parameters if you want me to do a casual playthrough. Because to just say casual, like my rebuttal is that this is casual. This is my casual playthrough. That may seem crazy to you, but it's the truth. All right, we're out of there. 109.58. This is going to be a low 110 Dreamweavers.
Maybe not. I don't know. But that's really good, though.
Yeah, really good, as I said up there. Yeah, I was talking a lot of shit on my attitude earlier, but you could tell these last couple of homeworlds, I've just hunkered down and just gone into focus mode. You could tell I'm like really trying to breathe and shit. That's what happens when you're on like a really good pace. Is like you need to just not worry about the chat. You just like. It's literally when you're on a pace like this, and other speedrunners in the chat can attest to this. It is literally hard to breathe because there is so much adrenaline coursing through your body. And I'm just sitting in a fucking chair just mashing a controller, I'm not out here like fucking running a marathon, but my heart, you can bet my heart rate's through the roof. And I'm just doing everything to just calm myself down so I can play as well as I can. To not play nervously or, whoosh, or to talk to him. Even just any word that comes out of my mouth can have an effect on my gameplay at this point. Because that's how, like, I guess you could say fragile my state of being is, you could say. So yeah, at this point, I'm like fucking, I'm zoned in. You can see, like, I got the fucking, but I'm trying to keep it cool as well. That's really all I'm thinking right now. Just like, okay, this is intense, but just relax, just play. That's all that's going through my head. And playing I am. This is a pretty solid cove so far. Yeah, you get hot, you get sweaty. Laura knows. To be fair, I get sweaty anyways, just fucking just sitting here. I get smelly and sweaty either way. But yeah, let's really hone in on this gameplay here, because this is getting towards the end. I did miss the butterfly there, which hopefully shouldn't have any implications. Very nice gem RNG. The way those gems pop out of the box can vary. So luckily I didn't have to fuck around with those. Go around. You have to kind of make that split-second decision there of whether you want to go around the box or not. If you're really fast, like, it's tough to decide there. And I decided to go around. You could tell when I was in the air, I was like, oh, do I go to the right or to the left? You could really tell just that split-second decision-making. Now, because I was going so fast, it actually cost me that guy's cycle. You can hit him early if he's moving his barrel the correct direction. God, I'm getting like secondhand nerves watching this. I'm sure that happens to you guys as well when you watch someone on a good pace. It's like you get secondhand nervousness. Am I conscious of my breathing patterns when I play? I mean, yeah. I mean, you'll notice that I will do every split from here on out when I enter a level, I will take a deep breath. Watch. Just to help regulate my heart rate. Nice grabs there. Another example of good gem RNG. This is an awesome cove here. We love to see coves like this. With the double and everything. I mean, come on. And this level is fuck. This level will fuck you even if you're playing well. So that was very nice. Nice cove. 113.27. My dream reader is 110.16. Pay attention to my breathing here. I bet you there's going to be a point where I take a deep breath when I enter Twilight Harbor. Let's see. What'd I fucking tell you? What'd I fucking tell you, dude? Yeah. You got to think about your breathing. My fucking heart rate is through the roof. I'm like shaking and shit, you know? What did I fucking tell? I haven't even watched this in like months. I knew. See that bonk? What the fuck was that bonk? That bonk is so... That bonk is... Oh. Dumb. You can see I'm frustrated from that. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it get to you.
Probably have to wait the grenade as well.
Probably have to wait the grenade. Good thinking. Forward thinking here. And indeed I do. Actually, what's smarter than waiting the grenade here is just going around the other side. It doesn't affect the supercharge no matter what strat you're doing.
I'll see you later. It's time costing me time.
Yeah, you can tell I'm starting to get frustrated here. And this is, honestly, this is where my mentality, my attitude really starts to go downhill. Is because I know I'm so close to the 120 right now. I'm so close to it. Like, I know, you know? And every little tiny mistake at this point, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, fuck, you know? And that shit is really scary. And in the end, just, you know, spoilers, in the end, that does end up costing me the 120. Those little that bonk earlier in the level and whatnot. Have to do a third turnaround. That's a couple seconds right there, you know? On a good run, it's not a big deal, but when the 120 is on the line, it's like, it's not even my fault, you know? I'm watching a lot of this gameplay. All these flubs, they're not even my fault, you know? I missed a green there. Oh.
This doesn't cost me the 120 right
yeah,
now.
that cost me the 120. I'm like, dude, this is like heartbreaking to watch, you know? This is I had it, you know? Clearly I had the 120 at this point, and it's slipping away. Your whole life's purpose, your whole like goal, you know, and it's just, you see it, it's right there in front of you to take, and it just slips right out of your fingers. It's like, it's really sad. There goes the time loss. See what I say?
Not over yet.
Not over yet. It's true. Whatever happens is okay. I used to say that a lot. I don't say it anymore. I don't like repeating myself like a lot. Because now that's like a meme, you know? Like when it's like whenever it's like, oh, okay. Shut the fuck up, you know? I don't like repeating myself like that. And it's not, honestly, that's not even what I'm thinking either, Laura. I'm not even thinking whatever happens is okay. I'm thinking if I don't 120, that's fucked up. You know? I'm not even on that wavelength. Even though that's so true, it's like, that's not what I'm thinking at all here. Minecraft speedruns allow untimed pauses. Yeah, that's cool. This is honestly, it's hard to watch. This is hard for me to watch, guys. Like, I'm really like getting secondhand like. It's like a heartbreaking thing to watch. It's such a good run still. It's so amazing. Like on all these same feelings I felt at the end of this run, I'm feeling right now. Let's see if I can get an extra damage here. Yeah, we're good there. Barely getting that proxy correct. So we're still on 120. Even despite the Twilight Harbor, we're still on 120 pace. Now look at this homeworld. Look at this loot. This is where I should just coast to the end. And God, I can't. So sad to watch. This is so sad.
Come on.
Every fucking second counts here. That seemed like not a big deal at all, right? That was like maybe like less than a second. But you can hear the desperation in my voice right now. Nice flop. I'm going to keep doing that flop. I've stopped doing that. I like it. My heart's beating watching this, dude. I gotta take a deep breath watching this, man. This is fucking so stressful. Why is it always gotta be this close, man? It's fine when you pull through, but this run, you know,
Okay.
Missed the thing there. That's not a big deal. I mean, that's maybe a second or two. This, you know, and I'm watching this, but I thought I fucked up harder than this, to be honest. Hold on, maybe there's. I think it's in the treasure room. I think that's where I fuck up. There's also an optimized version of this strat now, by the way. You can manipulate that plane to go down earlier. This is such a solid loot. Am I right, guys? Like, come on. I'm watching this like, oh, I fucked up so bad. You know, like, look at this. This is like so solid. It's like hilarious how far this whole shit has come, is my point. It's the treasure room. I missed a purple, which cost me the 120, I think. I mean, I didn't miss it. I turned around and grabbed it, I think. That one was also annoying. Also, there's a better version of this strat now. How do you miss a fucking... How do you run past a purple here? Oh, wow. Actually, oh, yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah. Dude, what the fuck? This movement was way too hasty.
No, it's
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's over.
It's over.
No 120. GG.
To be fair, I think even if I did that treasure room better, it probably still would have been like a 121 flat. I only lost like a couple seconds there. So it's hard to say whether that treasure room really cost it or not, but yeah, GG. No, and I look back at that now, and it's like I was being extremely hasty in that treasure room. Like, let's be honest, I kind of deserved that situation there. This first turn, good. Okay, that was fine. I'll take that. All right, but here, I'm like a mile away from that gem back there. That was just bad movement by me there. That was heartbreaking. That one right there. That one I'll say was, that one was just like undeserved. It should be to the left here. Yeah, that one to the left. That one, you can make an argument that I didn't deserve that one. But the first one I definitely did. So I kind of set myself up for failure here. To be fair, I got myself the dinner I cooked, you know, as it were.
120.
But yeah, no 120. I say it's so defeated. Hold on, let's see the reaction here. This is the shit I'm talking about. Why I don't like this run being my record. Oh, I laughed, actually. I thought I was like way more pissed than this. This is kind of funny. I'm gonna be honest. Still world record. We had a call that night. I'm sorry for not remembering that. I'll answer your question in a sec.
Why has it gotta be so hard, guys?
Damn, I had more hair back then. I was like considerably less bald back then than I am now.
That's a new world record, everybody. 121.02 by 1 fucking second. I had a very sloppy end there. I needed a perfect ending.
Yeah, I needed a perfect ending. Aftermath, dude. I put like a fucking chapter on this called Aftermath.
It's not a 120, but you know.
This is the after. It's not even. It should say like celebration, right? It should say pop off. Aftermath.
I'll turn on the fucking alerts again, guys. This was a run. It was a roller coaster of a run, dude. I'm fucked. I don't want to hear it, dude. Just save your breath. Thank you. I don't want to hear it.
I love this. I love this because like my chat. Let's see what my chat's saying over here.
Oh my god, dude. Well, guys, thank you for watching.
Everyone's like, yeah, amazing, good job, whatever. I'm like, shut the. I don't want to hear it. Oh, you almost had it, Deo. Imagine. Okay, hold on. Put yourself in my shoes for a sec. Imagine you go through a run like this. And then someone, after it's all said and done, comes into your chat and is like, oh, you almost had it. It's like, what? You know, you're going to lose your fucking mind at everybody. Oh, hey, next time. Hey, another run? You know, just like fucking brain dead, dude. You don't understand what I'm feeling right now? No, of course they don't, you know? It's like, oh my god, just this website's funny. It's totally soulless.
So to get a run like this is no fucking joke. A low 121 is
Okay, hold on. This was actually a very good assessment here.
I want a 120. As you might be able to imagine, I would love
Very
to
pissed.
get just a little faster. Just a little faster.
I did say before this was a really good run.
I mean, if choking it means like not being perfect but still having really solid recovery.
Here's the cope.
Yes, then I choked it, you know. But
Yeah,
that's
here's the
where we're at
cope.
this game,
Here's
you
the
know?
me putting down
There's
like
no room
fucking
for
every other
the
runner and run,
sloppy,
like just to
you know,
prop
unfortunate
myself up
things
type of thing.
It has to be perfect. And so I'm
Has to be
glad this one
perfect.
didn't 120 because this one was not perfect. This one needs to be better. And I'm going to keep going. If you guys think I'm fucking quitting, I'm certainly not. GDQ, I'm leaving for tomorrow.
Notice how I
I'm not
pivoted
gonna
a
go crazy
subject
with
matter
running
right
or
there.
anything, but,
Notice how I pivoted the subject matter of that conversation, because dude, I didn't even want to talk about it. I said my piece like in 30 seconds, and then it's like, all right, guys, GDQ's coming up. Like fucking, let's get our heads out of this because this is not a good. Because I knew this wasn't a good place to be like talking about. Oh, but this, but then that, you know. Fucking one thing I learned speedrunning is that the more you dwell on shit, then the harder you're making it for yourself. You know, and this is totally one of those examples of that where, you know, you're fucking pissed about something, but then you see, so this is another example of like where the chat can really help out. It's like, if your chat is like, oh, you almost had it, then it's like, shut the fuck up. But then the moment someone asks like, hey, what color was, you know, like, hey, how do you do this jump? To be able to pivot your mind to something, it's like, oh, thank God someone asked something unrelated. Yeah, so this unrelated thing, it totally helps your psyche. So like in the same way people dwelling on the shit you're talking about like fucking drives you crazy, it's like people not paying any attention and just pivoting helps you in a situation like this. And so switching to the GDQ talk, that actually helped me a lot there emotionally. Anyways, that was the world record commentary. Before I go off, I have a couple of questions here in the chat that I wanted to answer here. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. I know this is a fucked up... Here, I'll make it bigger so you guys can see. I know this is a fucked up question, but I see much meaning you take from the game and you're envious. I always think about changing the world and shit. How do you put so much meaning into something that's just a game? I mean, you know, that's like such a... I don't mean to be mean, but like you answered your own question there. I'm not even going to answer that. Like, I'm not going to answer that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already know the answer to that. Like, you already said yourself you like want to fucking find meaning or whatever. Like, you're going to find it or whatever. You think about changing the world? Go find something that matters to you and go do it. That's all this is. There's nothing like that. I'm not fucking changing the world here. I'm not going to get on a high horse about changing the world. I don't think you should either, personally. I think you should just do something that your heart tells you and stick with it until it means something to you, like this does to me. And that's that. Let's not make it into some fucking humanitarian, I'm going to change the world fucking bullshit, you know? Anyways. Yeah, that was the... dude, I was worried about that. Laura pointed this out. I was worried about people... I was worried about people coming up to me and being like, oh, you almost had it. A couple people did, but it wasn't as much as I thought. Yeah, I was genuinely worried about that. Because I knew that was going to be emotionally difficult going to GDQ after this. This should have been the one. Here's my conclusion here. Conclusion. This run, I think it's fair to say that this run could have, should have, definitely would have been the 120. You know, better Twilight Harbor, better this, better that, blah, blah, blah. This run absolutely could have been the run that, you know, I could have had my PB in this forever. But I lost a couple seconds here or there, and I still have the best run ever done by my standards, by anyone's standards. This run is awesome. The gameplay of this run, take whatever mistakes, whatever, it's not the 120, any negative thing about it, and with all that considered, it's still fucking amazing, this run. This run is a miracle, a shooting star that may never be achieved again by myself or anyone else, no matter how hard I grind. Think about that. That's fucking sick, okay? So now, with that said, the thing I don't like the most about this run wasn't that I choked it at the end. To be fair, that was quite a intense watch at the end. You saw me, even here, I'm getting quiet watching, and I could feel the nerve. I mean, that's exciting, truly, as a viewer and as a player or whatever, even if you don't hit the goal. But the thing I didn't like about this run, and you guys know what I'm about to say, is my fucking attitude, all right? Especially at the start of this run, I was being very bitchy. I was being very quiet, very like, okay, whatever, you fuck you type of thing, you know? And sometimes that's where I'm at, you know, emotionally. And I wouldn't take it back, you know, but for a future, if I get a future record, and I think about this whenever I'm in a bad mood at the start of my second run or whatever, if this run were to record, you know, like, do I think about this? Like, this video is going to have like 15,000. It's going to keep getting more views as time goes on. You know, 15,000 people saw me be a fucking little baby ass bitch at the start and at points throughout this run and at the end. And while it was an amazing run, I think my actual me, the human part of this, which I think speedrunning, it's all about the human element, as Todd Rogers would say, right? I mean, any computer can complete a game more optimally than this. But it's the way I'm reacting. It's the way I internalize and go through it that is what makes it interesting. And so when my attitude is not on point, when it's just like I'm just in a shitty mood, I don't want that to be my future record in this game. I don't want that. And that's the biggest thing I learned from this run was it wasn't about, you know, any strats or how to get like a good run or anything, but it was about the significance of having a good attitude, even when you think it doesn't matter at all, you know? And it's something that I need to work on more, you know? Like, truth be told, you know, I got a long way to go. I got a long way to go when it comes to my attitude and this and that and not being a dick to my chat or whatever, but we're all human. We're all works in progress. And I think this run was the ultimate example of that it's like, I'm a work in progress. My gameplay, this was an amazing run, but I have a long way to go, not just as a Spyro player, but as like a person. And that's the big takeaway for me. That was the big takeaway. And yes, I do regret, I think, the attitude more than anything with this run. There are a lot of regrets with this run, but there are also a lot of prideful moments with it. And with that, that is going to end my world record commentary. I know I didn't talk a lot about the gameplay. If you're interested in hearing me talk more about the gameplay and about like the specific nuances of every little section, please, if you haven't seen, check out my 120% tutorial breakdown series. They're really not tutorials, but more like kind of silly, mad like ramblings of a person that's gone way too deep into something. If you want to see me pausing every few seconds and be like, oh, well, here you can fuck up because this, and then this player's a fucking bitch because they always do this, and you know, and don't be a fucking bitch and do the easy strat here, do the real strat, you know. If you want to hear that, if you want to hear the real down and dirty gameplay stuff, do check out my tutorial series. I'll have it linked somewhere. And yeah, guys, have a great day. If you made it through this entire video, I say chuggers in your honor. And here's hoping that, I was going to say that I get another world record soon, but if I never get another one again, I think I'll be okay. And with that, chuggers, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Damn.